I'm Dr. Jack Thompson, Superintendent of Perry Local Schools. We continue to have so many great things going on in our school district to be proud of. It's amazing what gets accomplished in the 10 months that we call a school year. As we approach a time of more uncertainty, where we will be faced with a multitude of challenges, questions continue to be raised about our future. To answer these questions, we are creating a number of short videos to provide accurate information to our stakeholders who truly care about the condition of our schools and its future. Most recently, one of the more frequent questions I'm being asked is, when will we see a school levy on the ballot? We constantly try to forecast the future conditions of our district in areas such as finance and enrollment. Through this process, it has become clear that putting a levy on the ballot is premature at this time. That being said, we still believe it is very beneficial to always talk about our current financial position. To have this discussion, there is no one more knowledgeable about our financial history and our current forecast than our Chief Financial Officer, Mr. Lou Gallant. So I invited him to be a part of this video series. Hi, Lou.
Hi, Jack. How are you?
Good. So where do we stand financially today?
Well, first and foremost, we're stable, and that's the important piece. We have been and we continue to balance the budget on an annual basis. We have our pitfalls, we have our decreasing enrollment, but we're balancing a budget.
So tell us some of the history of how we got to this point.
Well, we've come a long way since the school district shutting down in the 70s and deregulation in the 90s. But since the last 10 years or so, we have done a number of cost-effective solutions to the school district. We have had, as you indicated, enrollment changes. Recently, our enrollment has gone down a number of students over the last couple of years. As a result, we've had to reduce staff and costs appropriately. But we try to do so in a manner that doesn't impact student programs. So we're able to shift staffing on an annual basis. We're able to assess programs, and we're able to adjust our expenses based upon what our student needs are on an annual basis. And that's how the budget gets balanced.
Excellent. So tell us a little bit about where our revenue comes from.
Our revenue comes from a couple major sources, state and local shares. Now, the state share comes in a couple factors as well. We get our state foundation piece, but we also get a reimbursement from the deregulation that has been decreasing over the last number of years. On the local side, we get local taxes, and that too has been decreasing. When the power plant tangible valuation went down last year, and there was a big number thrown out that we were losing $2.3 million, that's part of that local share. Now that piece was reimbursed from the state of Ohio.
So while we've done an excellent job in reducing costs and being efficient, there have been some increase in costs and expenses. And what are the reasons for those?
Well, just like in any household or any business, we have inflationary pressures that push up their costs. Healthcare. One of our biggest expenses outside of actual salaries is healthcare. Healthcare goes up at nationwide 7 to 10% a year. Well, we have to account for that. We have maintained the costs. We've aligned the plans to make sure that we're only covering those things that are still viable in healthcare plans, but costs of those still go up. Utilities. Costs continue to go up in utilities. They don't go down. The cost of textbooks, the costs of equipment, whereas some improved technology costs may go down. Services and the cost of new technology are new costs that we'd absorb. And so those costs are driving upward pressure on our expenses.
So even with this increased expense, we've managed to reduce costs.
That's
and
correct.
Other than staffing, are there any other ways that or implementations that we've done that have been a cost reduction?
Sure. What we've been able to do because of a decreased enrollment and because of our willingness to kind of share, we've implemented a lot of shared service agreements with other local districts. Now, every school district is under the same pressures that we are, trying to contain costs within a very stable but non-growing revenue base. As a result, we've entered into shared service agreements in transportation, for mechanic services, in financial services with neighboring districts. And so by doing that, we're able to maintain the staff, but share that cost with a neighboring district.
And I know a lot of the questions about the levy have come about due to the uncertainty of the Perry nuclear power plant. Now, and that might be a conversation for another time, but so where do we expect our expenditures to be over the next 3 to 5 years?
I would expect our expenditures to continue to be pressured upward, but stay stable to where they are. So we take the upward pressures in the health cares, the utilities, and those other items. We will reduce the expenses and the other attributable costs to kind of keep our expenses in line with our revenues. Now, that is very doable in the short-term foreseeable future, but we also have a large reserve set up, not only in the general fund, but also reserve set up for healthcare and for capital projects within the district.
Excellent. So I'd like to thank you for your time today, Mr. Gallant. It's been a pleasure speaking with you. And thank you for watching. We will be producing more of these segments throughout the school year on various topics of concern to the district. Our hope is that this video series will help keep our stakeholders informed and up to date on various district initiatives, goals, and the overall state of our schools. We value your opinion and your feedback. If you have any questions regarding some of the things we talked about here today, or any other questions involving our district's finances, please feel free to call or email Mr. Gallant or myself, and either of us will be happy to speak with you. Thanks for watching, and go Pirates!